So assuming you've heard about quality indicators, what's your general impression before hearing anything more? Multiple answers may be right for you, but just pick the best one in the moment. Okay. Good. That's why we're here. It's useful to hear what others are doing. I think that's great, and we like the idea behind it. In practice, have you ever tried to use quality indicators to improve quality? Okay. We're increasing the number of indicators. We're now up to 80. Great. 41% frequently and successfully have used quality indicators to improve quality. So the most critical element to adopt as quality indicators is or are, just pick one. Okay. I thought that would be the response. And lastly, I use or don't use quality indicators because. So, 60% say you do use them and they help you in improving quality. Great. So for our next panel, the discussion is on quality indicators, and I'll welcome the two speakers. Coffee follows the next presentations. Okay. Okay, our first speaker is Dr. Julian Barth, works in Leeds and is past president of the Association of Clinical Biochemistry in the UK, and we welcome him here to lead off this session.
Thank you very much. In England, we call this the graveyard slot. It's an hour after you finish lunch, and that's the optimal time for everyone to go to sleep. So I'm honoured to be given this slot with the aim of keeping you all entertained. Now, I'm going to try and change the direction of the whole meeting, which has been very much on analytical performance, and talk about clinical quality indicators in laboratory medicine. So what is quality? What are clinical quality indicators? Now, if we look at all the documentation that has come out from national bodies in the UK and in the United States and look at quality, we talk about patient safety, we talk about clinical effectiveness, patient-centeredness, outcomes that are timely, efficient, and equitable. And these are all clinical outcome data. These are not laboratory outcome data. So what I've tried to work out is what is the right thing, what is quality in laboratory medicine? And I think it's doing the right test at the right time on the right patient. Now, accreditation and the sort of analytical quality we've been looking at is doing the test right. It's not necessarily doing the right test right. It may be doing the wrong test right. So I think we need to look at how we can make sure that we do the right test right all the time. Now, we've heard a lot about the analytical performance. Let's just have a think about what are the other aspects that we need to be considering as well, and perhaps have a debate as to whether they're our responsibility in the laboratory or whether they're the responsibility of our clinical colleagues. So it would be impossible for me to come and give a talk with Mario Plabani without showing his picture of all laboratory errors, because at the moment we've defined quality indicators in laboratories by our error rate. But it's become very clear over the past few years that most of the errors that are being performed in laboratory medicine are probably being performed before the sample gets to the laboratory or after the result leaves the laboratory. And we've had data from one of my colleagues in Hull in England who's shown that with electronically reported results that only 50% of them are actually looked at. So let's have a think about what errors really are. This is Lucien Leap's definition of, or his classification of errors. Lucien Leap is a physician who works in Harvard Medical School and is probably the guru of laboratory errors. And what I've done is I've put in red on that slide all the ones that are related to laboratory medicine. So if we look at the diagnostic ones at the top, it's failure to do the right test. It's using tests that shouldn't be used any longer. And it's failure to act on the results of the test. Then we go down, then there's errors in performance. That's what we've been discussing all morning. Avoidable delay in response to an abnormal test. That may be turnaround time for us, but it may well be that we should be considering the overall turnaround time, the needle to brain of George Lundberg. And then finally, we look at inadequate monitoring. And again, that's nothing to do with current laboratory practice. But should we be recommending when the next test should be done with each test? Now, this is very much a European approach to quality indicators. The Americans are not allowed to do this. The Americans wouldn't waste their time putting a comment on the bottom of a report because they don't get paid for it, and because it wouldn't do very much to attract business. So let's go down this laboratory error route. Now, this is a paper that was written by an acute medicine physician. This wasn't written by anybody who works in a laboratory. And I emailed him to ask him for a copy of the paper. And after I read it and sent my thanks for him sending it to me, I told him that we could make him an honorary laboratory physician on the way through. But he is essentially telling us what we already know. At least he's telling his clinical colleagues what we know in a way that wouldn't be accepted from us, really. That tests redundant that shouldn't have been requested, the test attempted but wasn't done right, the clotted sample that should have arrived in the lab but never, the plasma sample that got clotted on the way through, tests that were done at the wrong time and interpreted incorrectly, and the test result that for us was correct but was a false negative. And these are all things that we know well, of all the ways that a test result can be looked at or a test can be requested, in which case, and it's not acted upon or it's acted upon incorrectly. So it takes us really to a new range, doesn't it? It's taking the hourglass, Mario's hourglass of laboratory errors, the pre-analytical, the analytical, and the post-analytical ones, squeezing it into the center of this slide and actually saying that the pre-analytical and the post-analytical errors are the more important ones. Now, this is a slide that you're all very familiar with, and you'll see that we've heard a lot about Sigma 6 at the bottom end, which is best in the world class. We've seen about how clinical practice up at Sigma 1. And we can see where laboratory medicine prides itself at sitting at about Sigma 5. And we want to put that into practice, just as when I've shown this slide before, I've pointed out the airline baggage handling failures at Sigma 4 and asked the audience if they'd like to put up their hands if anybody lost their luggage on the way here. That's fantastic. Normally, about 20% of the audience put their hand up and say they lost their luggage, because it gives you a really good feel for what Sigma 4 actually means. So where do we think our tests actually fit on there? Now, the last speaker gave us a very good account, or the last two speakers gave us very good accounts about Sigma metrics of tests within their own laboratory. Now, I'm just about to show you some data comparing samples that have been shared between laboratories that was collected by Nuraj Jassam, who's sitting in the audience. And you can see that cholesterol's not bad. That fits in with laboratory medicine practice. But let's have a look at these diabetes tests sitting at just under 3, and creatinine that's sitting at about 1.5. Now, I don't think any of us would regard that as being good. We think that baggage handlers at airports are appalling, even though all of you've got your luggage today. 4 isn't terribly good, and yet most of the tests that we're doing, for which guidelines have been written, and all our clinical colleagues are practicing their medicine around, the tests that we're doing are failing when we consider patients who are moving around from one hospital to the other, which they do, and as I described in one of my questions earlier on today. Another area that I think we need to address is that of standardization with us. The pie chart on your right-hand side shows the results of a poll done by the AACC a year ago, and you can see that of laboratory professionals in America, that 40% of them believed that standardization of laboratory tests was the next major challenge that we had over the next 5 years. Now, standardization is a rather large term that some of us will agree with and some of us will disagree with, but it will include adherence to evidence-based medicine and trying to adhere to the diabetes and heart disease evidence base will be difficult on the data I've just shown you. We have a huge problem of medical and nursing staff who rotate between hospitals, and if those hospitals use different laboratories, then the numbers that they have fixed in their minds about making decisions will be confused because they won't know what they're doing from one hospital to another. We have distributed clinical networks. Now, in England, by distributed clinical network, I mean that patients get seen in a centralized hospital for their care provision, but then they go out to the hospital that's closest to them for the day-to-day management. So if they have, for cancer patients, have their tumor markers or their creatinine measured, or if their thyroid disease is measured on different platforms, different decisions will be made depending on which hospital they go to. Right? Other problems are that doctors are not the only use of diagnostics. There are a lot of managers who use diagnostics, like insurance companies and others who we need to know about. We have populations who are migrating about. We have electronic patient records, which is really causing us a problem in the UK at the moment, because results from all different laboratories will go into a single field. If I consider the renal registry in England that gathers all the data on renal failure patients, if I consider the MyNap database, which takes all the data for heart attacks, they have a single column for each analyte. They don't even ask what units are used for. They just stick them all in the same column. And you all know how we could do for PTH, how we do for calcium. They all go in the same column. So they don't understand the variation we have between laboratories, not within laboratories. Point of care I won't even go into because you're aware of that. And the other area that's driving standardization, I think, is the consolidation of the diagnostics industry. So what are we doing in the UK about this? Well, there are 2 separate tracks. How do I get the green one? Okay. A couple of years ago, the Royal College of Pathologists had a meeting to try and decide how we would define quality. And that meeting really wasn't terribly successful. It didn't come up with any conclusions. There were too many people with strong opinions, and a report was written, but nothing really happened. More recently, they've put together all their guidelines that are produced by the Royal College of Pathologists into a single document of draft key performance indicators or quality indicators. And that was fed into a meeting with discussions. And we in the ACB, the Association for Clinical Biochemistry, have had a number of focus meetings and surveys to try and define what quality indicators should be, and I'll tell you about those in just a minute. And then both the College of Pathologists and the Association for Clinical Biochemistry have made recommendations for harmonization. And at the moment, we've got to the stage where the draft performance indicators, with our opinion from the Association for Clinical Biochemistry, have now gone out to various subcommittees to try and convert these airy-fairy performance indicators, I'll tell you about in a moment, into actually practical measures. So what we did in the ACB was that we've used the model that the RAND Corporation at UCLA have developed for developing performance indicators or quality indicators. They have a system whereby you have someone does a literature review, and then you get a group of experts who understand the disease and then try and put the disease and the literature together so that they can work out what they should be doing. They then get an independent review panel who are independent from this group here who've tried to work out what should be done to rate the results of this panel and then come to some sort of conclusion as to what should be used. So it's very much a best opinion, but it's based on facts. Now, the problem we've got in laboratory medicine is that the systematic review that's been done on quality indicators really hasn't come up with very much. The only one that's come up with that are really of interest for us from a clinical point of view are going to be the appropriateness of tests, what we do with corrected laboratory reports, critical value reporting, and turnaround time. So we were stuck. So what we then did was to take a development of the adaptation of the RAND process and had a whole series of focus groups of trying to get professionals to say what they thought was good about our practice and what performance indicators we should use. And I must say, trying to get these performance indicators out of my colleagues made pulling teeth without an anesthetic feel an easy process. None of you were willing to actually put your hand up in the air and say, I think this is a good thing that we should do, that we should be measured by. But after 3 focus groups, I managed to find them. I've put all their findings together into a single document, made sure that everybody who'd taken part agreed with that list. And I then got an expert panel of clinicians, of 13 clinicians, physicians, secondary care physicians, primary care physicians, and junior doctors to try and put them in order as to what they thought was important. Okay, so we had 75 indicators, and then I selected the top 10 because I thought, don't have too many indicators. We spend all our time doing measurements and no analytical work. And so these were the ones that were considered to be important. There was critical results being phoned out to laboratories, education, the removal of redundant tests, using appropriate calibration. Now, several of my users were endocrinologists who I've trained, so they really understood the point about calibration in units. They were very keen about error documentation, and then those are the rest. And we've published those in the Annals of Clinical Biochemistry if you want to have a look afterwards. So these are the sort of things that, from clinical biochemistry point of view, but I think many of these are applicable to the whole of laboratory medicine, will need to be translated into something that's measurable. So, for example, critical results, it may be that 95% of critical results, well, first of all, there has to be a critical list in your laboratory, and it may be that 95% of them have to be phoned out to a responsible clinician within, say, 60 minutes of the results being available, something like that. So really, to summarize, what is quality in laboratory medicine? Is it accreditation, or is it standardization of sample collection, a marriage of test menus and turnaround time to users and their clinical requirements, the use of the best assays, and that includes accuracy, precision, it includes standardization, and based on clinical outcomes. We should all be using the same names. I don't know how many of you use the same name for vitamin D as I do in my assay, my laboratory, but I suspect we've got about 20 different names for vitamin D in this room alone. And then finally, educating users how to optimize testing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. And once again, we have Dr. Mario Plebani.
Finally, this is my presentation, yes. So, today I like to share with you some points. The first is patient safety and quality indicators. Why we need quality indicators in laboratory medicine, which types and what quality indicators we need, how we can identify and collect data regarding quality indicators, and what quality specification we need to have for quality indicators. So the first point is why? And the answer is that it's been documented that performance and outcome measures can improve the quality of care. This is for sure. There are many papers dealing with this issue in medicine, not only in laboratory medicine. And therefore, such measures, we are calling measure of processes and procedures, have supported accountability, help to make judgments on the quality of care, set priorities, very important, enabling comparison over time between providers and the effectiveness of intervention. So this is a statement from a paper, but there are many, many other evidence. And I like to stress this point that is particularly for European countries, specific indicators for systematic surveillance, monitoring, and development of safety of care and patient safety activities are recommended by the Council of Europe, the Committee of Ministers. So in some way are mandatory, But why we really need quality indicators? Because they are valuable source of information for in-house quality improvement program. In my mind, this is much more important than other things or mandatory things. Benchmarking. We have to improve benchmarking between different laboratories, not only in each country, but around the world. Because they should be part of quality assurance schemes, external quality assurance schemes. And finally, because they provide useful information to our stakeholders, patients first, administrators. So, quality indicators are measure of quality and ways to define quality parameters in the total testing process. That means pre, intra, and post-analytical phases. They are tools for linking laboratory service performance with patient outcomes. And Julian stressed this point a few minutes ago. They are measured for peer review. This is, my mind, is very important because peer review makes sense to our profession. It makes sense when we are submitting papers to a journal, but even when we would like to discuss between us regarding quality in our labs and for quality assessment, external quality assessment too. And finally, they are tools for enhancing communication between providers and users of laboratory services. Finally, they are tools for better understanding ways that laboratory medicine is expected to contribute to the future of healthcare, if we have a future. So, in particular, regarding risk assessment, the goal is to identify flaw in the total testing process. I'm speaking about laboratory medicine, and flaws that are related with increased risk of diagnostic error and patient harm, and therefore the method is identification of the frequency of breakdowns in each step of the process, likelihood that this will lead to diagnostic error and patient harm. And this should be possible only through the identification of valuable quality indicators. So, which types? What? A brief definition. I like the second one. A quality indicator is an objective measure that evaluates critical healthcare domains as defined by some quality, in this case, the Institute of Medicine in the US. And you know the domains are patient safety, effectiveness, and so on, is based on evidence associated with those domains and can be implemented in a consistent and comparable manner across settings and over time. In this case, this means that quality indicator should be carried out in different laboratories around the world with huge, medium, and small workloads and tests performed per year. And there is no doubt that quality indicators should cover all the steps of the so-called total testing process according to the Lundberg view, the loop of the brain-to-brain loop. And you know the steps for sure. So this is that there are some statements that assessing quality of laboratory service according to the view of Julian Barth just a few minutes before, there is a consensus on the need of a comprehensive approach that addresses all stages of the laboratory testing process, starting from test request and concluding with test interpretation and utilization. No doubt about this, at least, or probably some doubts, but a consensus still is being achieved. And it's being achieved because the evidence is, you know this paper, that most of errors, or better, the pre and post analytical phase are much more vulnerable to errors. This is a paper published in Clinical Chemistry in 1997, but is the most recent paper published in the same journal, Clinical Chemistry, in 2007. And you know that still, at least in my hospital, the relative frequencies of error is the same that 10 years before, pre and post, much more vulnerable to errors. And you know this figure, I go further. So this has been accepted, and this in the ISO technical standard 2002-367, released in 2008, in which a laboratory error is defined as a failure of a planned action to be completed or intended, occurring, this is more important, in any part of the laboratory cycle from ordering examination to reporting results and appropriately interpreting and reacting to them. So up to now, today, this is consensually accepted as a definition of laboratory error. And thank you to my friend Goldschmidt, Hank. We published many years ago, unfortunately, Hank, getting older, a paper dealing with this problem, and that pre and post, or better, pre and post analytical steps present a very high frequency with high risk of errors, with high risk for the patient. So, what is obvious? The most critical performance indicator for medical laboratory is the delivery of accurate test results. But it's clear, it's not enough. So we need quality indicators, and we have two types of quality indicators. Operational benchmarking and external quality assurance, and from the other side, but is not the opposite, performance management and accountability. And the aim is particularly driving improvement from one side, and from the other, making possible corrective function. I will stress today the operational benchmarking for external quality assurance schemes and improvement initiatives. So, why? What? How? Julian presented this paper just a few minutes ago. We have a review of the literature performed and published in American Journal of Clinical Pathology some years ago, in which 14 quality indicators have been recognized as significant. And Julian showed you that they fall into 6 stages of the total testing process: test ordering, patient identification, specimen collection, specimen identification, preparation, transport. Transport is increasingly a problem. Analysis, result reporting, result interpretation, and the actions that should follow. But Julian published in 2001 a nice paper on quality indicators, a survey in the UK. I strongly suggest you to read this paper. Why not? And you can see some pre-analytical and post-analytical quality indicators. And another very interesting project is performed in Australia, OBETA, and very interesting. You can go to this website and you find very interesting data. And this is a flyer from the program of the Australian or Australasian, I think, scientific societies. And even in Brazil, the Brazilian laboratory indicators program is quite good. And I really hope to have the data published in a few months in some journal, conflict of interest. You can see some data regarding blood recollection, resource management indicator, that it means the productivity of technical personnel. So the Brazilian, many data from many labs in Brazil. So it's possible to collect data. And the problem we have now, in my mind, is that there are many, not too many, but many initiatives in the US, in Brazil, in the UK, in Spain. And we have other in Croatia, in China, in impressive collection of data on 69 quality indicators, in Australasia and New Zealand too. So, we have published in Annals Clinical Biochemistry last year this paper. Consensus is needed in a quality indicator. Otherwise, laboratory in Croatia, in Spain, in Australia, and in UK should identify and collect data on different quality indicators. And we are striving for harmonization in the analytical practice in the future. What we will deal with the harmonization in quality indicators. So please, remember this problem. What we need to have for a quality indicator? A title, it's obvious. Definition, what exactly are we measuring with the quality indicator? The goal, what performance do we expect? Classification, what can be used to evaluate? The rationale, why we are measuring it? Methodology, how we do measure it and what are the limitations of the measurement? Data presentation, how do we communicate the information? And so, in my mind, quality indicator should be part of a coherent and integrated quality improvement strategy. So I disagree with Julian once in life that accreditation and quality indication should be married to have final equality. And in fact, in my mind, the best way to identify and collect data on quality indicator is to put quality indicator inside of the pre-intra-analytical, post-analytical requirement designed in the ISO 15189 document for laboratory accreditation. In this document, you can find some requirement, but not the specification of the requirement. And the specification of the requirement are quality indicators. I think it's very clear. So now I have to deal with the project of the IFCC, the International Federation of Clinical Chemistry and Laboratory Medicine. We launched the project some years ago to consensually identify with many laboratories around the world intra and extra analytical quality indicators. We started to collect data, to analyze statistically the data, and to define provisional quality specification, finally, to introduce this quality indicator as a part of external quality assurance scheme. This is the final goal. So, you have a flyer in the documents that Biorad today or yesterday gave you. Please, you have to modify the website address because we changed the address. Is www.ifccmqe.qi.com. We had to change because some firewall rejected the previous one. I don't know why, but so this is definitely the new website. Please take note. So this is the true website. Initially, we have identified 16 quality indicators in the pre-analytica, 4 quality indicators in the inter-analytica, and these are the traditional quality indicators, 5 quality indicators in the post-analytical steps. But now, after some years, we have improved or increased the number of quality indicators, not adding other quality indicators, but introducing better specification for some quality indicators, because laboratories collecting data on these quality indicators informed us that should be better to introduce some further specifications. So we have now 34 pre-analytical quality indicators, 7 in the inter-analytical phase, and 15 in the post-analytical. If you go to the website, you can have all information regarding the project that has 2 main positive things. Is for free, and second, the data are treated confidentially as for any other external quality assurance scheme result. And we have added recently some support processes regarding employee competence and one regarding the laboratory information system, because this seems to be increasingly important. This is the type of information you can have on the quality indicator, the code, the name, the true way to collect data, in this case a week per month, per 3 months, is an example, and some note. And we have already published data on the quality indicators with the data collected, but you can see that many laboratories, more than 60 laboratories around the world are involved already in the program, but not so many are regularly introducing the data. It's not so easy, but so what we would like, we have done in part, is to calculate the performance level for each and all quality indicators according to the theory of desirable, minimum, optimum, and unacceptable quality specification. So quality indicators are one thing, and for every quality indicator, we should have a quality specification. Of course, easy or not too easy to collect data on these quality indicators. In this slide, I tried to summarize some pre-analytical quality indicators in which it is easy to collect the data. For example, number of samples lost, not received. In every day, the clinical labs collect data on this, as well as number of samples improperly labeled. It's much more difficult to collect data on the number of appropriate requests. It's very difficult. But this is more and more important in the future. And so we have data on the intra-analytical. This is number of unacceptable performance in external quality schemes, for example. And the post-analytical, number of critical values communicated, is not widely used, but is easy to collect. So please, take note that we know that some labs should select some quality indicators. You are not obliged to follow and to comply with all quality indicators. Oh, this is some papers we have already published in Clinical Chemistry Laboratory Medicine, but also in Clinical Clinica Acta in 2009. And so my message is, please attend the IFCC project on quality indicators. And another take-home message is that on October, in Padua, we are organizing, October 25th, we are organizing an international conference dealing with the diagnostic error and quality indicators. And Julia Barth are invited to deliver a lecture, as well as my co-worker Laura Sciacovelli, and we will have a presentation from China. So please, if you would like to attend, I cannot cover the travel expenses, but the fee for the participation for you is granted. So, moving from error reporting to clinical risk management, we know that safe organization need to have an approach with multifaceted systemic nature of safety problem. So we have to integrate various components, technology, culture, guidelines, leadership, because the final goal is, this is my mantra, safety, save life, first of all, and money. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Plebani. We have a few minutes for some discussion and comment or questions. Anybody? I have one. I've been, at least in the U.S., been involved in a number of activities, IQLM that you may recall, and several different things that AHRQ or CDC and others tried to do. And so when I look at the worldwide efforts in Brazil and efforts in Europe and efforts in China, what is your hope for being able to bring those different efforts together? Would it be with this IFCC working group? I mean, is there a way to bring, if China has 69 indicators that they're working with in a Ministry of Health project, and you've identified a number already so far, how do we get those together and get that data shared?
The good news is that China is accepting our invitation to join the IFCC project. Okay. And we are working with some US government institution, because the IFCC and me, as the chair of the IFCC working group, do not like to force anyone to accept the quality indicator. What we would like to do is to harmonize the collection, identification and collection of data on quality indicators. So this is a table in which we have to discuss and finally find the way to harmonize different projects around the world. And I'm very happy because I was invited and I will deliver a lecture in Australia on November. I have delivered a lecture in Chile, in many, many other countries. It's not me, it's because this topic is a hot topic today for the survival of laboratory medicine.
The work that we've been doing in the UK has been very much driven by the professional service. And the indicators that we've been working on have been developed in open knowledge of what CPA, our accreditation service, is doing. And there's an implicit understanding that the indicators that we come up with will be ones that will be introduced into CPA inspections. Now, whether those will be outside the UK or whether they will just be within the UK, I don't know at the moment. So I think that there are different strands. I don't think there's a problem with having different indicators. Some of the indicators will be the same, because I believe that the purpose of having these indicators is to gradually improve the level of service that laboratories are providing. And as long as everybody takes part in a process that means that they're continuing to improve, then I think that is going to be a good thing for global medicine.
I have to add one point that is very important. We would like to have a champion in every country, possibly. In this way, the program should be not a centralized program, but we can work to release some data report, and in every country the champion should discuss and personalize the type of indicator and the type of data collection in a way that is, the collection of data on appropriateness of request in Australia is very difficult, I know, for some problems. In Italy should be done. So we have to have a common framework, but to personalize in each country. And we need to have champions, not plebani everywhere.
Please.
Dr. Galbani, I just home in on one quality indicator there you spoke about, was mislabeling of samples, and how do you think you will ever eliminate that? Like, I started working over 30 years ago, and that was the issue. And it's like, even last week, somebody mislabeling a sample. Now, the reason I raise this question is that there's a well-known fact that once you have human intervention, the best efficiency factor you'll ever deliver is 80%. It's when it's totally automated you can achieve 100%. So once the human element is there, I just question the ability to eliminate or to improve that quality. Thank you.
Mario is trying to persuade me to answer that question for him. Mislabeling of samples, I think that's a really difficult problem. What one of my colleagues in England has done has been championing the use of barcoding patients from their wrist labels. So you barcode they have barcoded wrist labels, so they barcode that and the request card. And that's been done largely for blood transfusion, which clearly is a higher risk area. But there's no reason that once one brings in the technology and the routine practice of barcoding patients, that will, to a certain extent, reduce. You won't eliminate it, because when you've got humans involved, there are mistakes. But it'll be another step to help reduce the number. And I'm sure other things will come along in future as well. But I think we have to make use of what automation we have got at the moment to try and chip away at these problems. I think there is a solution overnight. You know that, and I know that. So. Not a good answer, but I think it's a pragmatic start. And can I just build up on something that Mario just mentioned about champions? Because the reason I think that it doesn't matter if we develop different indicators is because we don't know what the right ones are. And I think that if somebody in each country pilots a particular indicator and works out how to use it, then we can start to get to a position where all of us can share those with each other. So go away and do something on your own, and then tell us how good it is or how bad it is, And then those can be introduced into routine practice as well. And if you can find a better way of making sure that patients' samples are labelled properly, then tell us about it as well.
I just wanted to ask about, I know the work that you've been doing in the UK, Julian, on this, and I didn't know if you had any, or any of your colleagues had any vision to how it might work in terms of, I'm quite excited about the sort of the benchmarking scheme, which is I've only just heard about today. And the key interest is in patient safety, but there's also a commercial interest in this as well. It's been used as part of the tender process in the east of England recently. The quality indicators were based on stuff that yourself and the Royal College had worked on. Do you see this as being an open thing where laboratories will publish their performance on this, and would there be any risks involved in that in terms of what data they put in and the quality of that data?
We have a culture in England, I don't know whether it's the same in the rest of Europe, of hiding our external quality assurance data and keeping it private to ourselves. I know that there is a view in the English government that that is not what we should be doing. Nobody in industry hides their external quality assessment unless it's bad. And that if they've got something that's good, they show off about it. And I suspect we'll be doing exactly the same. We're all going to be fighting for business, and the way to show how good our business is to say how good we are. And if we can find outcome data that shows that our laboratory is providing a better service or supporting a better service than somebody else, someone's going to want to buy that service. So I think anything that, I think we should be demonstrating how good we are, yes.
Any other comments? Great discussion. Thank you both. We'll now take a coffee break and return at 4:10.